Well, in case we haven't scared you enough, one more time. April 15th, just a month away. Jeez, it goes fast, doesn't it? Instead of whipping out a calculator and pencil this year, why not load up some software and click your way through your return? That's how I've been doing it for about 10 years, and it's really the greatest way to go. TechTV Labs' Andrew Hahn is here with a roundup of the best tax software for 2004. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
How long have you been filing this way?
Oh, for about 3 years, I guess.
Really?
Ever since Clinton signed the electronic.
You like
Act.
e-file?
I love e-file.
Yeah, e-file is really great.
It costs a little more if you do it with more expensive applications, but...
Well, that's what I want to ask you. We just showed you how to do it completely for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most people, like 80% of all taxpayers, can do that.
Yep.
Why would I spend 20, 50, 100 bucks on software?
Well, if you have a complicated return, you want to do a 1040 straight up, not an easy or a 1040A, I guess they call it. You make more than about $40,000 a year, because if you'll notice in that list, if you make more than 28, 35, 40,000, you're probably going to have to use some software to get through stuff. For example, my wife has a business, and I have to sort through the Schedule C, and she makes a certain amount of money, and then she has a home office and a bunch of things like that. So there's more complex stuff that you want to get to the nitty-gritty of. I itemize as well. I live in the Bay Area. There's a lot of
So if you have a complicated return, it probably is easier. Plus, then you have the return on your hard drive.
Exactly. And actually, there's some good features that are added this year to some of the applications that help you with that, like importing data, saving it to a regular file instead of having to buy the software to look at your tax return, things like that.
Now, the field has narrowed down a lot.
Yes.
TurboTax is kind of still the leader. H&R Block does that tax cut program.
Tax cut, that's right.
And then there's a Tax Act. Now, this was free. These guys came out free. Let's start with Tax Act.
Yeah, Tax Act is good. We got the deluxe version, but the regular version is totally free.
And it does everything, right?
It does everything. The first file, I think, is I think it's $7.95 to file unless you work with the IRS to do it.
I used this for a few years, and it was pretty good.
It's not bad. If you buy the deluxe version, which I think is about 20 bucks, you get the first file for free. The first federal for free, and then you can download the state and everything. The thing about this that I like is that it's fairly basic. So if you have about $35,000 or $40,000 that you make every year, this is a good application. You can see there's big graphic things, life events. You can go through and click, I changed jobs, I got divorced, I had death in the family, I bought a home, whatever. Just select different ones, went to college or whatever, and then it'll walk you through the process really easily. There's also this pretty cool little thing here. J.K. Lasser gives you tax tip information, home interest, whatever that you may have if you own a home. And like all of them, it's kind of a storyboard sort of thing where it'll explain to you what the topic is, how to get around it, and you never really see a form. But if you want to see a form, you just go over and you click forms, and then bang, you got tons of information.
So all three programs kind of hide that unless you want to see it.
They absolutely hide it, and I think it's probably a good thing because most people get confused by that. I'm not a huge fan of Tax Act. Mostly because I had a more complex return, and when I added stuff to it, I had a lot of mistakes that it imported a bunch of deductions.
I stopped using Tax Act because my return got so complicated. Does this import from Quicken and from Microsoft Money?
It does not do that, and the free version doesn't do that. This version didn't do that, and that was a real problem for me because I'm a Quicken fanatic.
Yeah, if you already have your data entered in, it's kind of a pain to have to re-enter. Go ahead.
One of the ones that does do that is Tax Cut, TurboTax.
I'm not surprised since it's written by Intuit.
Yes, that's right.
The Quicken folks.
Right. So Intuit, it'll do everything for me. I've been doing TurboTax for the past 4 years.
Yeah,
so
this is the one I bought this year.
Yeah, it'll import stuff from TurboTax.
So it looks at last year's return.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot simpler for you. It also looks at Tax Cut and some other applications too, and imports them. So that's really good.
Something to keep in mind if you're moving to a different program or if you have data already in Quicken or Money. Think about which program will work with the stuff you already have.
Well, it saves you time. It looks for more interesting information, like I was trying to renovate my house so I could keep track of all that stuff.
How does this do the questionnaire process?
The questionnaire process on this is really simple. It goes through the whole process. You have the sort of forms that if you want to look at them, you can jump to different spots, like, I don't know.
It's kind of wizards, too, though. Less check boxes and more wizards.
Yeah,
Wizard W-2s.
It's much more wizards, but it also gives you more detailed information, too. This is a standard W-2. There's information there. But you can jump to the form if you want to see the forms. Let me see if I can't view my forms. Go to forms. And then it brings them all up, and bang, there you go.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It looks like the form you would actually enter.
You don't have to go through that long list of forms.
We should say that
like
this is a phony form. This is not what Andrew makes.
Yeah, that's not what I make.
I hope anyway.
Yeah, no, that's not what I make there. But anyway, that's a good thing.
So TurboTax. Now one more we have tax cut.
Now this is probably my favorite one.
Really?
Yeah, and usually I pick TurboTax, and at home I got TurboTax.
TurboTax was kind of the leader for a long time.
Yeah, but it's so expensive. It's 60. The one we looked at was about 60 bucks.
Plus you have to buy the state.
That's right. You have to buy state and all this stuff. Actually, state was included with my $60 purchase. Okay. So, but I'll tell you something about TurboTax real quickly. I forgot about my child tax credit because I just had a kid, and I had to go back and refile again and repay the like 35 bucks that I originally filed with, which was a problem. So I paid $70.
You only got to do it once. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about tax cut.
All right, tax cut I think is probably the best. It did the best job of dealing with my Schedule C stuff or my home business. My wife works at home, so it did, and that's really where most of the detail is. She uses our house as a business and an office, so we needed to do a lot of stuff.
Very complicated. I also do that. Yeah.
It's very, very easy. There are these pop-ups. You can jump to the form. It's very much like TurboTax, like dependents, etc.
Good help on this as well?
Yeah, there's good help. You can go over here. These FAQs. If you have a dependent, it can't get a social security number. Blah blah blah. It gives you all the information.
This is nice. You get both the IRS's instructions and other people's
tax advisors and things like that. So it's good. It also tracks up here at the top right.
How you're doing?
Federal and state. I owe $4,900 in this one, but it does a good job. I really like this one for that, and also. You can do a final error check at any point, run the check, and bang, there you go. Congratulations.
So your recommendation is tax cut because it handles a more complicated tax form better?
Well, I think because it handled my home business stuff and it explained it a little bit better.
Right.
But the bigger reason, I think, is just because it costs less. It's a lot less than TurboTax, and it basically does the same stuff. So that's why I chose it. It's a good value.
All three programs are updated regularly. When you first install it, you should always download the latest update. And before you file, you should download an update, because if there are errors, they want to fix those before you file.
Absolutely.
Good.
It's all good.
Tax Cut, TurboTax, or Tax Act? Which do you use? For information on all three, stop by our website for a side-by-side comparison, techtv.com/call for help.